Hi guys, lovely to see you all again. Today we're going to be looking at a very delightful solo one, very dear to me and my heart. We're going to be looking at Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. It is pretty epic and it is pretty win. Let's take a look. Alright guys, let's have a look at the first section. I want to start from 7 of the 3rd string. I'm going to play 7, 9, 10. Then I go back to 9. And anytime I have a held note, I just add some cheeky vibrato, and then it works into this. What I'm doing here is a pull off from 10 to 9 on the 3rd string, and then playing 7. Then I've got very similar phrasing here as well. A pull off and then an extra pick note. So what I had here was a pull off from 7 to 5, and then I plucked 3. And then I've got a pull off from 3 to 2, still on the 3rd string, and then I play an open note. If I didn't mention it earlier, the whole section thus far has all been on the 3rd string. So let's have a look at what we've got nice and slow. At the end of that, I've got a semitone bend from 2 of the 3rd. I bend it up that semitone. Then when I bring it back, cheeky vibrato on just a regular 2. Let's try that all one more time. Okay, it's going to be very, very similar on the second half. We're just going to have some slightly different notes at the end. So I'll show you what's exactly the same. So all the way to the pull off from 3 to 2 and then the open note. And then instead of doing the bend part, I'm just going to play 5, 7 like this. So we've got, at the end of that, I'm going to end this section with 7 of the 4th string, which is going to lead us into the start of the 2nd. So it's almost like a bit of an anacrusis. So that's pretty much the whole section. I'm going to play it slowly and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. Let's do it one more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the second section. I want to start from 7 of the 3rd string again. Then I'm going to work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 7 of the 4th and then roll to 7 of the 3rd. And the next part, I just work my way up and back. So I'm playing 9, 10 on the 3rd, 8 of the 2nd, and then 10, 9 on the 3rd. So I'm just working my way up and reversing. So this is what we should have from that little group. So we're actually going to do that exact same phrase twice in a row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the starting note and then that little lick twice. Hopefully that's making sense. And then we work into this phrase. So what I've got here is a pull off from 7 to 5 on the 3rd string. Then I'm hammering from 2 to 3. And then just vibratoing 2 on the 3rd string. So let's have a look at what we've got thus far, and then we'll have a look at the second half of the section. Okay, hopefully that's making sense. And then I'm going to have the lead-in note like we had at the end of section 1. We're going to play 7 of the 4th to 7 of the 3rd. And then we're going to repeat that other lick again twice as well. So we're going to go... That's all exactly the same. Then to finish it off, I'm going to sort of work into this little pull-off pentatonic-y lick. And end on a cheeky bend. So what I've got here is a pull-off from 7 to 5 on the 3rd and then jumping to 7 of the 4th. And then I'm going to bend 10 of the 2nd string, semitone, then bring it down and do some cheeky vibrato at the bottom. Okay, that's pretty much all of section 2. Let's go right from the start relatively slowly and then again with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the 3rd section. Keep in mind that the solo at this point has all been in D minor, and we're going to be sort of hanging around the D minor pentatonic. So I'll show you the first lick of this. Let's slow that down. So I'm starting off with a pinky on the 2nd string on 13, and I'm playing 12 of the 3rd, and I'm bending that up kind of Angus Young style. At the end of that, I'm just working into a cheeky blues lick. So I'm bending 12 up and back on the 3rd, pulling off to 10, jumping to 12 of the 4th, and then back down to 10 again. All together. Okay, at the end of that, I'm going to slide into 12 of the 5th string with my ring, not from any particular place, just that swoopy entry. I've got a flat finger here covering 10 of the 3rd and the 4th string, and I work into this. So all together we should have this. At the end of that, I work into this phrase. I'm doing a bend on 12 of the 3rd string and then playing a flat finger on 10 of the first 2. And I'm doing just a quick 3. I think of it as the apple pie rhythm. Apple pie. So we're going all together. Okay, then we work into this phrase. This is a little bit more adventurous. Alright, let's slow that down. I've got a big bend on 13 of the 1st string. Then I do a pull off going 13, 12, 10 on the 1st, and then I roll to 10 of the 2nd. So all together from the bend. Okay, then from there I'm going to play 13 of the 2nd string and pull off 11, 10. Then I jump to 12 of the 3rd. So before we get ahead of ourselves, let's have a look at what we've got from the bend. Okay, then it goes. And that's just going straight down the pentatonic. I was playing 10 of the 2nd string, a pull off from 12 to 10 of the 3rd, and then jumping to 12 of the 4th. Let's put that with the bend now. At the end of that, so what I've got there is 10 of the 3rd, a bend on 12, more of a vibrato really, then I go back to 10. Okay, that's pretty much the whole section. So let's take it from the start relatively slowly, and then we'll do it again with some tabs, obviously. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the fourth section. I want to start off with a bend on 15 of the first string. Then I bring it down and play a regular 15, and I work into a pretty strange phrase. So what I'm doing here is I'm sliding from 13 to 12, and then hammering back to 13 and pulling off to 12. It does seem strange to do the same two notes twice phrased differently, but it does have a cool effect. At the end of that, I slide to 8. At the end of that, I'm going to play 13 of the second string and then pull off 12-10 on the third. So we got all together. At the end of that, I work into this phrase. So you notice at the start of that, I'm doing a dual bend. So I'm playing 10 of the second string and 12 of the third at the same time with that bend. Really digging into our Queens of the Stone Age Jimmy Page sound. And then I work into this phrase, which we saw exactly the same in the last section. I was just bending 12 up and back, pulling off to 10 of the third, jumping to 12 of the fourth, and back down to 10 of the third. Let's go from that dual bend idea one more time. Hopefully that is all making sense. Let's try it again from the start, nice and slow, and then we'll work into the second half of the section. Okay, hopefully that's all making sense. And I work into this kind of Sweet Home Alabama kind of cheeky good time country rock bend. I've got a flat pinky covering 13 of the first two strings, and then I'm bending 12 for the third. So I play them all together as a chord, and then from there, working down the pentatonic. So from the top of that bend, I'm only going to play the third string, bend it down, pull off to 10, 12 of the fourth and 10 of the third again. We've seen this 3 times now. I'm going to do a very similar idea from 12 of the fourth now. I'm going to pull off 12 to 10, jump to 12 of the fifth, and then back down to 10 of the fourth. So if I play those two ideas back to back, you'll see how similar they are. Let's go from that bend now. At the end of that, I'm going to work into this phrase. This is still working down the pentatonic. I've just got that cheeky flat 5 in there. So I'm going to play 12 of the fifth, pull off 11 to 10 on the fifth, then I jump to 13 of the sixth and back down to 10 of the fifth. So all together, at the end of that, I'm going to play 13, 10, and then slide off into oblivion. So all together from that big bend idea with the pinky. That's pretty much the whole section. So let's go from that 15 bend at the start of the section, play the whole thing relatively slowly, and then of course we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time, some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at section 5. This is the Ricky Martin Live in La Vida Loca section, so we'll take our time with it. Keep in mind that we've had a key change as well, so now we're in F sharp minor. So the majority of the adventures are going to take place around an F sharp minor pentatonic. I'm going to start off with this. What I've got here is 14 of the second string and then a bend up and back from 17 of the first. Then I work into this phrase. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing 16, 17 on the first, and then 2 pull-offs from 16 to 14. And that's going to resolve to 17 of the second. Okay, then after that, he hits 15 of the first string, so it does sound like there's kind of a weird outside note or almost a key change adventure happening here. So after I played 17 of the second, I work into this little descending lick. I'm doing a pull-off from 15 to 14 on the first, and then I'm playing 17, 15, 14 on the second, and resolving that on 16 of the third. So, to keep from getting too overwhelmed, I'm going to try and repeat everything quite a lot in this section so we don't get too scared. From the start, okay, then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm playing 14, 17, back to 14 as a hammer-on pull-off on the second string, and then jumping to 18 of the third. And that's going to sort of double up on both of those C sharps. So it's going to go... We're going to do the exact same idea again without the third string, so we're only going to have 3 notes. So all together, then I work into this phrase. So what I'm doing here is essentially the same thing twice. It's just got a little bit more of an adventure at the end of the second one. So I'm going 14, 15, 14 on the second string as a hammer-on into a pull-off, and then jumping to 16 of the third. But at the end of the second one, I'm going to pull off to 14 and then slide to 13 on the third. Okay, and then from that slide, actually hammer back forwards, and I'm going to play 13, 14, 16, sort of go. At the end of that, I've got a hammer-on pull-off, playing 14, 15, 14 again, and then I'm going to bend 17 of the second string, sort of go. It's a terrifying section, I know. Let's take it from the start, and then we'll finish it off. Then from that 17 bend, I bend it up, then when I bring it down, I'm going to pull off from 17 to 14. Then I go, I'm bending 19 of the second string, and then I pull off 19 to 17, and then jump to 18 of the third. So we'll try this. Hopefully that's making sense. And then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm hammering 14, 15, 14 on the second string, and then jumping to 16 of the third again. And I'll do a similar idea, but I'm going to go 14, 17, 14 on the second, and then jump to 16 of the third. So it goes. Let's try the whole thing from the start. There is a little bit more to it, but I just want to show you how it will all join together thus far. Okay, hopefully that's all making sense. Then the next bit, I'm just working down a pentatonic. All right, so let's take this slowly. I'm going to start from 14 of the second string. And I've got a double pull off from 16 to 14 on the third. And then I want to play 16 of the fourth and 14 of the third. And then I'm going to do a double pull off from 16 to 14 on the fourth string. Sort of go. Okay, then from there, I'm going to do a pull-off going 16, 14, 16 on the fifth. Well, pull off into a hammer, really. There's only 3 notes there, so thus far. Okay, then at the end of that, I've got a hammer on from 14 to 16 on the fourth. And then I'm going to play 14, 16 as a bend on the third. Then I jump to 14 of the fourth string. Sort of go. At the end of that, big ass bend on 19 of the first. So I would recommend watching this section a few times and the slowed down group as well. Let's try the whole thing relatively slowly and then do it again with some tabs. One more time, some tabs. Okay, so leading into section 6, we had that big bend from 19. That's still going to bleed over from section 5. Then I work into this phrase. So what I've got here, I'm going to do a pull off or a slide. It doesn't matter what you want to do. I'm pulling off from 17 to 16 on the first string. Then I play 17 of the second and 16 of the third. And then I want to slide that back a full tone from 16 to 14. At the end of that, I'm going to hammer back to 16. So we're going to go from there. I'm going to hammer 14, 15, 17 on the second string. Okay, then at the end of that, I work into this phrase. So I'm going to hammer 14, 17 on the first string, pull off 16, 14, and then jump to 17 of the second. Hopefully that's all making sense. Let's go from the start of the section thus far, and then we'll keep going. Okay, then I work into this phrase. So what I've got here is I'm rolling forwards and backwards on the first string, so there should be 5 notes. Those 5 notes were 14, 16, 17, 16, 14. Then I have 5 notes on the second string, but it's phrased a little bit differently. I'm going to play 17, 15, 14, and then 15, 14 again. You can do that all in one pick, or you can add another one if you want to have that extra emphasis there. So we'll work through those 2 groups of 5. Okay, then from there, jump to 16 of the third. I've got that other cheeky lick we had before, 14, 15, 14 on the second string is a hammer pull off, jumping to 16 of the third again. And then from there, I've got 2 hammer-on pull-offs from 14 to 15, 14 to 15, and then pulling back again. So I was going 14, 15, 14, 15 on the second string. Hopefully that's all making sense. So let's try and go through the whole thing thus far from the start of the section, then we'll add the second half. Hopefully that's making sense, and then I work into this phrase. So this is a very similar idea played a few times. So I'm playing 15 of the second string. Then I want to do a hammer-on pull-off into a slide. So I'm playing 14, 15, 14 and sliding to 12. Then I want to play 14 of the second string. Now my next hammer-on pull-off into a slide is going to go 12, 14, 12 and slide to 10. So let's try them back to back. Now the next bit's going to go. So I'm going to play 12 of the second string as just a single note, and my hammer-on pull-off slide is going to go 10, 12, 10, slide to 9, and then I'm going to resolve that from 9 of the second. Okay, then from there, I'm working into an F-sharp minor arpeggio, playing 11, 10, 9 from the third string to the first, and then I'm going to play 14 of the first string. Then I go. So what I have there is a hammer-on 9, 14, back to 9, then playing 10 of the second. So all together. And the end of that is just sweeping up from that 11 of the third string all the way, and then just holding that 14. If you want to use a different finger, I definitely find trying to vibrato with my pinky is a bit of a joke. That's pretty much the whole section. So let's go from that 19 from the section before, just to get a bit of a feel for it, and then we'll do the whole thing even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, last section. This is sort of the little post-solo lick. I wanted to include it anyway because it's pretty rocking. I'm going to start off with a quick group of 3 notes from 7 of the third string. Then I'm going to work into this. So what I'm doing here is playing 5 of the first and then 6, 8 on the second. So all I'm doing there is just a bit more of a vibrato on that 8, and then I repeat pretty much the whole thing again. But instead of staying on the 8, I'm going to go back to 6 of the second string. So all together. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into the next part, which is similarly phrased. So I'm going to start off with that kind of quick apple pie kind of triplet vibe there on 3 of the third string. And then I'm going to play 6, 3, 5. Then I repeat it again like we had in the last section. But I'm going to add in an extra note and jump to 5 of the third. So we should have kind of 2 little groups here now. Okay, then the next phrase. This one only happens once and then it changes up a little bit. So I've got the open note 3 times on the 3rd string. I'm going to play 3 of the 2nd, 3 of the 3rd, and then 5 of the 3rd. And then it works into this phrase. So I've got a quick triplet here on 7 of the 4th. But I'm going to play 6 of the 2nd and 7 of the 3rd. And then that works into this little arpeggio. Sort of an A minor vibe, I guess. It's playing 5 of the 2nd, 5 of the 3rd, and 7 of the 4th. So let's try that whole little chunk again. Okay, let's try the whole thing thus far, and then we'll add the end to it. Okay, then it works into this phrase. It's pretty much exactly the same thing twice. I'm playing 3 notes, playing 7 of the 3rd, 7 of the 4th, back to 7 of the 3rd. I'm going to do a similar idea, but play 5 of the 3rd, jump to 7 of the 4th, and back to 5 of the 3rd. So it's going to go. Then I repeat it again. That's pretty much the whole sort of post-solo lick, if you will. Let's try it all relatively slowly, and you can repeat it. I think it's 3 times in this song. So here we go. One more time with some tabs. And that was the epic and delightful solo from Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all very soon.